the TP comes in on Sword. It's a 4-on-4. They're just trying to kill one person as DWG, but they can't even do that. Tarzan solo finally goes down as Nuclear is able to pick up the kill, and the rest of Griffin are on the backside. Showmaker, though, coming on in with that teleport, wants to get in range. They're looking for Viper here, but does he have enough mana to get that Arcane Shift to safety? That is the question. Gonna be caught short there, Showmaker. The W comes in from Nuclear for the double kill over the course of that time. Welcome 2 kills to the Kai'Sa in the bot lane.
They desperately needed that, not enough mana, 90 mana to make it happen. 65 was how much he had, so his death is incurred. Really interesting fight where Tarzan's on the enemy side of the jungle. Canyon takes a man fight because he has Galio on his side of the map, and he thinks he's gonna get the reaction fast enough. Watch this, it's just a pure 1v1 to begin. But Akali is interrupting, and Chovy actually gets there first. Showmaker not able to react, and in Kesper Cup, he was behind the play more often than not. In an interview he did post-game last time out, he talked about how nothing was coming together in Kesper Cup. This should actually have been better for DWG, given the champions and the positioning on the map, but it ends up 2 for 2, so no lead grown by Griffin.
Chovy once again proving that his Akali is OP, but the Akali's mobility and ability to get over the wall, in that case, gets her in position. Doesn't matter in the 1v1 as well for the junglers, as Tarzan just wins in that solo kill. Did miss how the Ezreal eventually did go down. You see where the kills go. Chovy has 1, but Kai'Sa has 2, so Nuclear might look to be the carry this time around.
And remember that level 6 Galio can easily roam and back up canyons, and no longer does he have to avoid Olaf's pathing. There's some scenarios where you just straight up kill Olaf on an invade, so DWG Gaming need to continue to play this style. Their pressure style should be met with largely a white flag from Griffin before their items are put together. That's why I was a bit skeptical of what Griffin have drafted here. If you go 2 for 2 in the early game when you have a comp disadvantage, that actually is advantage Griffin, the fact that they were able to trade evenly. But now we reach a resting state again, and we wait for the first hero's entrance and whether it can warp these side lanes.
We'll see if Showmaker and Canyon's teamwork is on point. Fortunately, Showmaker slow on the fight that we did have in the jungle, but Hero's Entrance kind of foregoes any of that nonsense and just hops over all the walls. Doesn't really care about that too much.
It'll be harder to use that in the mid-game than the Shen support we had the other day, because it's so difficult to work out when to use Hero's Entrance against an Akali. Akali versus Jace, and again, mid to late game, the options Griffin have in the side lane there will be much stronger. But for now, like you say, yeah, just Hero's Entrance in, back up your members, continue to push forward. Turret plates should be pretty much stacked for the side of DWG in the top lane at minimum. Bot lane, I think, could pick up some as well, but because there's been a lot of Olaf showing on the bottom side, it's actually CS parity between Viper and Nuclear.
The Doran's Blade start here, interestingly, from Chovy. Feels like he had enough regeneration to survive in the lane, and as we can see so far, that is definitely true from the way that the game has gone. Chovy has carried many a game in his life, especially the ones on Akali in LCK. We'll see if he can do it here once again, picks up that 1 kill, but I'm really excited for perhaps a new face that's off the Xayah, Nuclear, to come onto the Rift here for DWG Gaming and for him to be the carry this time around.
DWG have not found too much success with him as a primary carry, but maybe that says more of just how much of a carry Showmaker and Nuguri is, rather than just purely Nuclear. Again, not going to be too fondly remembered for his time in Europe, but he was good on Sonic Boom when that team was a bit of a basket case at the bottom of LCK. He was never individually super outclassed in EU. I guess Reckless had his number many times, but his comeback and his solo rank has always been really, really high. He's been top 10 for a lot of the end of the season. And while he's had good games, if it's just does Nuclear pop off or not, that's the part where we're not 100% clear on the side of DWG.
Well, as you mentioned in the pick ban, he does have a lot of different allied champions that can help him get into position with their ability to CC and engage, specifically the Galio and the Alistair. Tarzan here Not going to go for this Rift Herald, just hanging around the top side.
Doesn't have priority in this lane, but has a Predator and can just run at Jace. Will he pop it? That was a visual bug. That
was really confusing.
Really funny. And now we're going to see the real thing.
Nuggery just nopes out of there real quick, says, nuh-uh. Not taking the 2v, even though Victor was pushed in, just immediately decides, no, I cannot take this fight against Olaf.
No reason to path into that brush, and obviously at the end of the story, after the visual bug is over, no way for Jace to contend, and that's actually a big favor to Sword. No longer can Nuggery be as relentlessly aggressive on the push-up and pain train, and that should mean the turret plates also will be gone before the flash is available again for the Jace.
Canyon, level 7, 11 minutes into the game, decides now is the time. They have a lot of nice vision up in the top side. There was a control ward in the pixel brush as well, but that was recently cleared. But still, this will go unseen for now.
Speaking of unseen, Canyon once again evolving R. This is what he did first game out, and was just so maneuverable in a game that looked really tricky for Kazis to get much value. So no Q first, or W first, much more common. Are those is the choice. But in this case, R evolve and just trying to be slippery and assassinate Ezreal, Akali, or Victor in a team fight. Wait, he got the interruption!
He interrupted it! Oh man, Canyon! Not sure if he knew that interaction, but... Oh man, we have a crazy stuff going on now.
We have a lot of crazy stuff.
Is picked up here on Tarzan too.
All right, let's talk about the first part. The interruption on the R was always there. It used to be a silence, became an R interrupt. Oopsie from Canyon. Now the bot side of the map.
Okay, here we go. First hero's entrance, gonna go wide as Hoyt. Super low is gonna be taken out. Showmaker with no mana as well. Nuggery trying to go 1v3, but he cannot, as Chovy is going to execute him, and Showmaker just desperately trying to make something of a bad situation is also taken out. Complete disaster here for DWG Gaming as Griffin take advantage.
What's happening this game, Valdez? The redemption keeps the Olaf alive. He rushed it after the red smite and the boots. They're going to get a turret plate from this as well. The top side's out of position because they were caught with their hands in the cookie jar trying to take the turret. Good job with Sword, understanding that interaction, disarming it quickly. I guess Canyon just said, well, he doesn't have the W evolve, therefore he can't interrupt, but R is also an interrupt on abilities like Kassadin's Q. We watched the replay here. A lot of burst damage onto Tarzan, but he channels the redemption, stays alive. And DWG Gaming, in so many different ways, we're going to feel so unhappy about this passage of play.
This just doesn't feel like any other jungle would be able to think this way and say, hey, we're going up against a full-on engaged comp. If I just rush redemption, maybe I can survive and maybe I can keep our team alive to win in the sustained fight. And we saw it in action right away, right after he picked up the redemption. It's pretty crazy stuff.
Well, let's think again. Let's just do a little bit of a deep dive here and remember, how does Olaf build? He gets his boots, so he has a keystone. He gets his red smite, and then he builds Black Cleaver. That's what we usually see, because of the fact that Phage has the rage passive interaction that with just a Black Cleaver you can run at people and kill them. Don't think Black Cleaver is going to kill Kha'Zix. He's going to disengage in one way or the other, and you're not necessarily going to be that overextended. The Black Cleaver is so squishy as a build that I think DWG Gaming take you down pretty fast. So instead, he moves away from the Black Cleaver, builds a redemption for a bit of utility. And actually, it might be a pretty astute choice if you aren't bound to building a Warrior Enchant and Cinderhulk is more of a scaling jungle item rather than an immediate power item. You can build something else. Now, I wouldn't have expected redemption as a something else.
Yeah.
But I guess Rakan has to build something other than redemption, and it seems like Griffin have some sponsorship with the Redemption Overlords.
Well, it seemed to make sense from what we can tell, and one disaster into another as Viper and Lehens are just pushing them into the bottom side, as apparently Kaisa Alistair not able to do too much up against this duo so far, to the point where they bring Canyon down to the bottom side.
Love to know how many stacks of Ingenious Hunter Tarzan has as well. Remember that all Predator junglers will go Ingenious Hunter to get that Predator cooldown down. That means Redemption could be amusingly low cooldown as the game goes on as well.
It's actually a fantastic point, something that we may not have thought of until seeing this. Let's get as many active items as possible. Hoyt, big knock up here as Toby is getting 2v1 in the mid lane, and now Griffin have to disengage, and here comes Nuclear looking for that big engage, but the knockup from Lehens is going to keep him away.
Gonna keep chasing. Can they get out?
Can they get in range? The big shock blast is going to hit him, but it's not the right target. And Sword, meanwhile, is just easily pushing the top lane.
Too slippery are the members of Griffin. Rakan, Ezreal, the definition of that. Sword continues to push, and topside didn't have teleport, but he wasn't coming, that's for sure. Getting some gold, getting some damage to this bot lane turret. This one will go down. No significant gold lead in this game as DWG Gaming take their first turret of the game.
Redemption used again. I didn't quite catch where it was used, but
it actually didn't arm. It was just as Olaf was disengaging. He didn't get the heal,
okay.
and then was one auto from death. It's almost very awkward on that.
It's just funny that the cooldown is back. So for the next fight, even if it happened immediately, the Olaf would have redemption again.
I feel like, you know the brain exploding meme where it goes from a small explosion to a bigger one?
Brain thing? Yeah.
Are we going to get some shielding synergy with this redemption to get more healing value out of it? Where's the next mana regen? Forbidden Idol would be just the most troll item an Olaf could ever build. We think this is just a one-off redemption like we see with the support Elise and support Ornn, but we're not to know. He plays the Evelyn jungle, he plays the crazy stuff, and then when he plays Olaf, he builds a redemption. Just Tarzan thinks.
It's just, you know, redefining the jungle as he goes. No big deal. It's just what he does.
Showmaker's KDA in the toilet. Sorry, guys.
Oh.
But Chovy now, 63 KDA.
How far can he go? Looked like he was dead when he had a Jace and a Galio on top of him, but lo and behold, Shroud is an ability. And he was totally fine.
Jungle is going to be so tilted around the world if this redemption jungle thing happens again, because they just started building damage again, Valdez.
I know.
They just no longer had to build into Knight's Vow every game.
Warmonks.
And Warmonks. They finally got some damage items, and then Tarzan says, hey, you know what's pretty good? Redemption, Olaf.
It's relatively cheap, too. I forget what it is, but it's like
2,100 maybe?
Yeah, I was thinking like 23. It's around there. It's really cheap, so it's a great early item pickup, you know? Where you can get it super quick after your essentials, which just makes it even more enticing, you know?
Tarzan himself, when interviewed about Jungle Champion, says he likes playing the tanks. He knew that about the Sejuani. This is a bridge further than we could have expected. Canyon didn't have a big start on his Kha'Zix, but had a big finish. His team fighting on Kha'Zix, which is pretty tricky, was really impressive. He's half a level till he can evolve another ability. But now being pretty respectful as he takes an axe from Tarzan.
He was scanned and outplayed. Tarzan saw him there. Just clearing out the vision around Infernal, which is, of course, always a very highly contested objective.
And let's talk about the game state before the Infernal battle happens. Remember, we said we really liked DWG in the early game till 2 items on Ezreal and 1 item on Akali. In that time, the game is even. So it's way better than expected for Griffin that they haven't taken any significant losses in the early game. And now, when the first big fight, which we imagine will happen over Infernal, is happening, the cores are done with Griffin, and DWG are behind in kills. So actually, Griffin are way more ahead than perhaps the gold illustrates. And DWG are going to have to do some outplaying in the next fight to make over, or to get over what has been a bit of a wayward early game from them.
Sword having a fun time too. Essentially never left lane and just pushed as Nuguri tried to make map plays, which did not work out. Means that he's actually got the advantage up there in terms of pushing onto that turret. Both top laners with TP. And here we go, Canyon trying to get the drive-by, cannot do it. And they're going to engage here onto Lehens, but in goes the charm as Hoyt is in a lot of trouble. Showmaker able to get that taunt down, has the burst damage and actually kills the Olaf. Before he can do much of anything, Shock Blast is going to go wide, and DWG not willing to go on the chase. They pick up a kill, but Infernal goes to Griffin.
And Griffin's jungle kind of laid out to be taken down. Chovy's not there to zone, so not able to have any influence in that fight at all. DWG have good turret damage. It's Jace and Kai'Sa. This turret will explode.
See you later, Mr. Turret, or Mrs. Turret. You're dead.
Don't presume the turret's gender.
Yeah, you know, it's, you know.
So we're going to push through the bot lane here. That was a good moment for DWG. They needed a reset like that, and it's not going to have a significant impact on the gold. But we'll watch the replay here. You notice that combat redemption could be pretty tricky to use, as we'll see as it goes on. Canyon's just faking out. It's just a ruse on the bottom side till he jumps upwards. Nuclear's out of the fight, but as the fight goes on, there's no Akali finding any real inroads. Victor comes in late, and so Olaf just taken down in the front line.
Chovy would have loved to be in that back line with Hoyt and Nuclear,
yeah.
the juicy, squishy targets, you know, but too hard when you got a big gargoyle in your face and the rest of your team is disengaging. So, yeah, a bit of an unfortunate one there. It happens sometimes around objectives that you're essentially all-inning on. But they do get that Infernal, which is going to be huge. The Victor, Akali, Ezreal trio are going to be popping off in terms of damage.
But the Akali, Rakan, Olaf, the dive trio here. And it's only really one with true threat. It is a Cinderhawk, Redemption, Olaf, and Rakan, who at least moves fast on this patch. Hasn't had his boots nerfed just yet. Still going to be Sonic the Hedgehog for, I would imagine, this weekend. I don't know about next week, actually, and if we're 9.2 or not. I guess we'll all find out next Wednesday. Canyon walks up. He's evolved W second. I wonder if that's ever been a thing. RW is an interesting one, but this is very much a scouting build, as you have 3 charges of your invisibility and the ability to check brush and have some utility slows as well.
Feels nice to get the ultimate positioning for the Galio's Heroes entrance as well. Just have that extra second, unseen and fast getting into the back line. It's a cool idea.
It's just a new meta. We've seen so many different choices on the Kha'Zix. Q evolve, R evolve, W evolve from Clid as first evolve in solo queue, but RW gives a lot of ability to kind of be similar to old R when you had the ability to be invisible when you entered every brush. You can have a lot of brush control on this because you can enter them with 2 seconds of stealth and check them safely as well. So scouting-wise, it can definitely work. And there's not been a snowballed game for the Kha'Zix. He's 3 camps ahead, but no kill involvements for the Kha'Zix.
Nice ward there, actually, in the enemy red by DWG. Spots the Olaf and knows that Tarzan is nearby. But nothing doing so far. The Baron has spawned. Next Drake is going to be Mountain, but doesn't spawn for another 2 minutes. We'll see if any team can make any picks happen in this one. I know DWG would love to just blow up Chovy and make him irrelevant, but he brought the cleanse into this one, and he's fed. So we'll see if they can actually take away that primary target of the Akali.
Happy to side lane against Galio or Jace. Either lane assignment is fine. For the Akali, all Galio provides in a long side lane is the ability to group faster than the Akali can pull off with no teleport. So DWG, I think the Flash Headbutt Pulverize is the big win button here. I think that's the way that they can actually rush Griffin, because I think if Griffin can play a slow game, that's Akali trading up in a side lane that's Sword now able to push a little bit more relentlessly, and he has the Iceborne Gauntlet that we said was kind of the break-even point for this lane to not just be a hot mess for the Victor. The side lane's healthier. The Ezreal farming it out and just getting the scaling on with the second tier item evolution. Probably around 28 minutes we'll see the Seraphs in this game. DWG Gaming have a lot of force, but again, that's just on paper, and we've seen so many teams this season. Galio Nocturne.
Around this area for DWG Gaming right now. And Viper currently backing, so maybe Griffin, well, he's going to stop backing, so they will actually challenge here at the Dragon.
Poke doesn't land from Nogari. We see Chovy on the bottom side. He's going to be scouted by this control ward. That's enough to lead DWG to exit the pit.
Yeah. Just trying to be sneaky there. You can actually just head straight into that brush with the Shuriken. Try to come from behind, but didn't happen. There's also a lane ward here, so DWG know all about where Chovy's is on the map.
But that's the sort of macro you like. He either jumps over and has a flank position, or he jumps over and says, now there's a minion wave pushing in, react to that. They're making DWG, who want to group and use their engage for a team fight, accountable in the side lanes, and not every team has been good about that so far. In LCK Spring, I think Sandbox, despite being 3-0, have had some pretty big mistakes around pushing waves. See Nogari drawn to the bot side in order to pick that one up. And actually the Seraph's main line is going to be aborted by the Ezreal. It's gone for QSS. for a bit of respect, largely to either the headbutt pulverize, you want to QSS and then arcane shift out of that one while you're airborne, or of course the more obvious one in the Galio taunt.
If you're in Ezreal and you get caught by either of those things, and you do not have an escape button like a QSS, you essentially just die. So I like the idea, play it safe from Viper.
You just wouldn't often see it against only Galio as a kind of bread and butter hard CC, but against the Alistar, maybe 1 second in the air, but the multiple seconds of CC is coming after that from the Galio, so don't mind it here. Griffin controlling the pit. We know that Olaf is on Raptor, so this just seems about positioning for the side of Griffin.
I love the way Lehens just sits right in front of the enemy team and just baits them. Say, I dare you to engage onto me.
And the longer that DAMWON doesn't do anything, which walking around this area forward and back and releashing the Drake, that counts as not doing anything. A little bit of CS is coming the way of Griffin. More farming of the tier is going the way of the Ezreal, and there's no corresponding things that are scaling on the side of DAMWON in terms of item power spikes. So Griffin actually don't mind milling DAMWON around the Drake. They're not losing anything here, and while DAMWON are not straight up losing the game, they're losing their foothold on the mid game.
Yeah, just twiddling their thumbs are Griffin. Even when they didn't have vision on the Drake, Lehens was just standing next to the pit. That was his job. He was the human ward. Say, if they are going to hop the border or the wall there, then, you know, he's just going to spot it, and there's going to be no problem. And, well, no Drake was taken, and the vision is still down. We'll have to wait and see, though, here. There was that one ward that spots him coming in. So no Mountain Drake for now.
Canyon really doesn't want to waste his Duskblade sweeper onto a visible ward, but that's the only one in the pit. Lehens going to take an EQ and back away. Victor's back top side and not the most impactful TP user, neither is Nogari, to be fair, on the Jace. Do they know about Chovy on the bottom of the screen? My first thought is no.
Does seem that way. TPs are coming in as Chovy is now spotted. Shock Blast goes wide, and now Griffin thinking about taking the Mountain Drake.
Tarzan split, though. They have no smite on the bottom of the screen.
Looks like Canyon wants to come and burst it down, and there it is. The ultimate here from Viper. Going to be just fine. Canyon, kind of an awkward spot, waiting on the leaf cooldown. Does make it over, but gets pretty low, and Griffin, we're forced to give away that Mountain. That's double Mountain Drake now to DAMWON. We already mentioned the speed at which turrets can go down with Jace and Kai'Sa. How about with 2 Mountain Drakes?
That is something to think about, Valdez, as Viper got his buy-in. He's going to be finishing off the Seraph soon. Awkward positioning for Tarzan to be the one split around the top of the pit. But overall, Griffin delayed the Drake take by about 5 minutes from all the inaction around that objective. They move towards the Baron with the chance of at least threatening a start on it, but no Blade of the Ruin King on Ezreal means their Baron speed is pretty slow. Good Baron turn, though. Very reliable. They will always have a battle dance for Rakan to do the rest of the work, as Olaf, Akali, very hard to interrupt. What does this all mean for DAMWON Gaming? They've got core items too. We object to how they got to this time and the fact that Griffin are so close in gold after the draft. But now it's all about execution. Now purely execution between DAMWON Gaming and Griffin. Any mistakes on either side, and I think the punishment will be swift and might just be game-winning. Because even if it's just Victor dying to Jay solo, those turrets going to explode.
You mentioned the item timings here for Griffin, but how about 4 stopwatches as well? I feel like they have their sights set on the next team fight, and we've seen what a powerful item the stopwatch can be. That stasis, when used correctly, can win you fights just on 1 member, but how about on 4? They're certainly going to be looking for that next one and putting all their eggs in that basket, especially with the timings they have on their champions.
And some of the timings here feel oh so good for Griffin. Consider that Canyon's actually going second lethality item against armor stacking. It's fine for the Jace. He can get the Yomas for movement speed, the extra lane control that the sweeper effect on the Duskblade provides, and then just the Black Cleaver. But double lethality on Kha'Zix, if you get the maximum value and split away Lehens, Chovy, or Viper, I get it. But it seems pretty bold given that everyone's building armor, and the moment the Seraphs is there, Ninja Tabi plus the extra shield, That's going to be a very tanky Ezreal as well.
He's going to be having a grand old time. Lehen's here took a accelerated shock blast to the face and barely lost any health.
And that's Rakan. He has no base stats to speak of at all.
Yeah. There's a nice amount of armor in his build.
It's actually us watching Freak's video on base stats, and he talked about how Rakan's base armor was insanely high. Very squishy in health and no magic resist to speak of either, but decent armor total with just a Glacial Shroud and a cloth armor. A-ramming a little bit here.
Yeah.
Viper able to just throw ults out and continue to charge. He can't be far away from that Saris transformation.
He's nearly there, no doubt. He's just going fishing. He's not too concerned about the ARAM. Did a huge chunk to nuclear before. Is looking for another opportunity like that.
Seems like a game defined by a super player or a mistake. And if those two things happen at the same time, that might just be the game decider. Sword coming from the sides, pushing up here, gets a bit of poke onto nuclear.
Oh, gets the laser too. Struggling here to stay above half health is nuclear. So much poke on the side of Griffin, just in Ezreal and Victor.
That means Baron control again, gonna have to be abandoned by DWG. Trip for the mid lane here, about 1,200 gold lead is the lead for the Akali. Zonia's and more CDR. Banshee Veil to be a bit more tanky seems to be the build path here from Chovy as a fourth item. A lot of weird off tanks going on. A Cinderhulk Redemption Hexdrinker looks like the sort of build that's where you're following an Ultimate Bravery build of Hexdrinker. What's next in the build? IE, whatever, I guess. Like,
yeah.
Definitely a bit all over the place, but you understand what's going on there. DWG just say, well, how about starting Baron? And Canyon's almost dead from the Baron.
And he might just be dead here. Chovy, oh, he's
Redemption.
looking for the snipe. He has to wait, and Chovy gets the execution. Hoyt should be going down here as well. A double kill to Chovy. Let's just add more numbers to his KDA, why don't we? As he picks up two on the backside as a desperation moment. Trying to rush down Baron with double mountain, does not pay off.
Redemption actually forces him to opt into Kali damage. Brilliant was that interaction there. Now it's Griffin on Baron. How can DWG Gaming do anything to stop them? There's no smite here.
It's just Sword versus 3 to zone them away. They know the rest of the team is right behind them. Particularly Lehen's for sure, but there you go. Baron does go the way of Griffin. You mentioned the mistake or the super play. Like a bit more of a mistake there, but Griffin immediately capitalized.
Canyon was just machine gunned down by the Baron. Watch this, he's onto the Baron as a two-man. You understand a two-man with a tank jungler. Canyon's far from a tank. Baron does super damage in the early game. The redemption may have killed him. It's hard to say. He jukes it, but unfortunately jukes it into the welcoming embrace of Akali. And anyone who's been embraced by Akali in solo queue knows that embrace hurts a lot. Not sure what that says, but it tells you that death is incurred, the Baron is free. And now Griffin, who got a better earlier game than we thought they should have been granted, get a very nice late game tool in the Baron.
And they get some more kills and more items onto their Akali, who's gone relatively safe. I mean, it's pretty normal, but you get both the Banshee's Veil and the Zonia's eventually. You're going to be taking immense damage while also not be able to kill this Akali. Not sure what DWG can do up against that, as they weren't able to make any big Galio team Wombo combo fights happen so far. And I don't think they'll have much of a better opportunity here in the future of this game either.
Just feels like Wombo combos aren't working as much anymore, Valdez. Sometimes, yes, you'll see it work, but in even skill or potentially out skill matchups, found it very hard for the Wombo combos to find the value they did earlier in 2018. I think Griffin have played around that very, very well in this game. And like you say, Wombo combo from behind feels pretty toothless. Feels like maybe the R button doesn't exist for the Galio. Canyon pokes around the side on top side, but it's not going to dissuade the now level 18 Chovy, whose Banshee Veil is done. So many more scenarios you see where DWG Gaming lose out, and they finally lose out on their mid lane outer turret. It lasts 35 minutes. This is a Baron buff with a lot of standing gold in terms of turrets, and the potential to actually find the first meaningful gold lead of game 1 of the series for Griffin.
Now, we have seen teams, namely Griffin, come from behind About 8,000 gold with the Kaisa, who is still 2-0-1. Feels a little bit different in terms of the situation, but the game is not over yet. Only 2,000 gold ahead for now is Griffin. And we're 36 minutes into the game, essentially, in Triple Mountain on the side of DAMWON. So we'll see if they can come back in this game.
Very tricky. Nogari is usually the gathering storm in the side lane, but it's Jace this time, not Vladimir or a team fight impactor. Very hard for Jace to do anything against Baron buff, one of the natural counters to a split push champion. Griffin continue to move. About another minion wave of Baron buff left on the side of Griffin.
Looking for just one more turret. As the top lane getting pretty low here. They've already taken 2 in the mid. And they wouldn't even mind an engage at this point. They have so many strong members in this lineup to the point where DAMWON cannot even come close to their team on that turret. Just have to let that one go. The Baron buff will finally be done.
Jace has that amusing farm bounty. It's pinging between 700 and 650. Sword very much about just finding the minion waves he can and not going into any threat range. He's been very restrained on the Victor, which he needed to be in this particular game. Like you say, nice items onto the Kaisa. 4 items done, and just a Mikuro Scimitar to be the final item coming in. What does it mean? How do they get the fight now that they need to get back into the game? The terrain where that happens seems to be purely around next Baron, or maybe the Elder, which is coming in a minute's time.
Looks like they want to set up for it right now, as there was the one control ward, and Canyon Nogri both very close by with their sweepers. Gonna take away one, but so far Griffin seem like they have the advantage in this area for now. Baron will also be coming up in about 1:30, so keep your eye on that timer here.
You could get one and then just run to the second one. That's the God tier standard that you could see come out. The teams try to do, having the overlapping buffs when it comes to contesting the secondary objective. Because of the short spawn timers, it seems like one team will win a fight, get both, because the other team will be wiped. Viper full build, complete full build now, as Bay the Ruin King and Mikuro Scimitar came very quickly. Looking at W damage here on the Observer. Of course, the W rework on the latest Ezreal build does make him much more of a sieging champion. Pop out the ult, the enemy has no health bar. Pop out the W, the turret has no health bar. A nice 1-2 punch.
He's kind of strong, for sure. Viper agreeing with your current assessment of the Ezreal. And here we go. Elder has spawned. DAMWON, though, not ready to take a fight just yet. Looks like the TP is down for just a couple more seconds here for Nogri, where it's up for sword.
4 stopwatches on the side of Griffin. Only person without one is Viper, and he's Ezreal with Summoners and QSS. So given that, so hard for a combo ult. You'll take one pick, but forcing a stopwatch surely has to be the start of that play. Ult doing about 1/3 of Nuclear's health bar, and that's with some magic resist in this build.
Well, you can try to get back some of that health here eventually.
Nice thing is, if DWG Gaming can recreate what Gen.g did in that second game yesterday, they got 3 Mountain Drakes, so they can at least trade objectives pretty damn fast.
You can see that happens immediately. The second they see Griffin move towards that Elder, DWG come up to the Baron, and they're going to threaten it here. Lehends has to be careful.
They check with the Redemption. They know that they're not on Baron, as you're laughing about the Redemption again.
Yeah. It's not Lehends without one.
Look at this Baron explode!
Just disappear! Sword trying to come from behind. Down goes the Chaos Storm, but it is going to go the way of DWG Gaming. And here comes Nuclear into the backline, but he immediately disappears as all their DPS should be gone now. Big taunts here from Showmaker, but immediately Viper is going to cleanse that one. Toby and Viper just tearing apart this team, as well as Canyon on the top side. Everybody except Nogari will be dead, and Toby, he wants it. One more Q and a flash, and there it is. The clean ace goes the way of Griffin.
The clean ace goes the way of Griffin. DWG get the Baron from their incredible Baron damage. You can tell Nuclear was watching those Viper highlights recently, because he thinks he's going to swoop in and recreate the pentakill. Not to be. First one down, no damage behind DWG with Kaisa dead, and Griffin will win game number 1.
Took about 40 minutes, a bit of a longer one, but Griffin all the way through seemed to be in control once again. They will take the Nexus down for the 8th time in a row up against DWG Gaming. DWG Gaming still looking for that first win, but Griffin this time around will say no.
It's their 15th win in a row on the 2019 patch since the start of their Kesper Cup. And they're going to feel pretty solid about this game. Again, I had a lot of issues with their draft because it seemed like a return to some of the drafts we wagged our fingers at in summer season. The very scaling drafts or a bit off-center drafts. The Redemption Olaf largely worked. It was a bit creative, but it made you wonder why. In the end, though, they weren't punished by DWG Gaming in the early game. Then the stopwatches came in. DWG watched on and on as the game went to 6-item Ezreal territory, and not an inspired Baron start was enough for them to win the game. They turned on Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa died very quickly, and the game swiftly ended after that for Griffin.
Nicely played by Griffin, and Chovy continues with his KDA. Should be up around 70 now after this game. Picked up a lot of kills towards the end and assists, so he's feeling pretty happy about that. Griffin, once again here, undefeated. DWG will pick up their first game loss in this matchup, so Griffin, we'll see if they can continue here as we will eventually make it to game number 2.
And you just see why teams respect some teams but always pause when they're asked about Griffin. On FLICKR, actually, after their win yesterday against SKT, was asked about future games. He's like, yep, I think Humble Life are pretty good, but they might get a game, but we'll definitely win that series. But his goal against Griffin is at least a single game. That's what they're really shooting for here, and kind of gives us more insight onto why in the preseason trash talk about Griffin, people were already saying things like 18-0, something that's never been done in the LCK. 17-1 for SKT in summer of 2015, the closest that we've ever had to the 18-0 perfect season in match score. A 36-0 would be another level of unlikely. I don't think that will happen. But we look at this game, it just ended up being too much of a gimme for Griffin. I think DWG really did some great things in the draft, but you looked at the mid-game and said, wait, Griffin are equal in a game where the early game was their big struggle. It's not like the Olaf ran the show either. In the jungle matchup, well, they picked themselves up in the late game, they gleefully accept the scenario they're in, and they end up deserving victors in game number 1.
I mean, you even look at Chovy's damage. He looked like the most fed and scary member, but he was the same with the Olaf at 8.1, so it was really just the Ezreal show once again as Viper popped off. Even the Victor did quite well, especially after Nuguri just left the lane, and Victor was like, haha, I'm going to take out the turret now and take all these CS and just get fed. So they stalled it out. They gave all the Mountain Drakes. They're like, here, take them. We don't need them. And Griffin, once again, kind of unsurprisingly, it feels like every time we say this, we'll take another game win. So we'll see if they can close out the series up against DWG. Feeling pretty good about that prediction, Papa.
I think DWG Gaming are a much scarier proposition with 5th pick on the red side. They'll be on the red side for game number 2. This is definitely their best chance.
Yeah, would have to agree. So we'll see, guys, as we do hop into a commercial. When we come back, game number 2.
20살, 그것은 치열한 전투. 우리를 억압하는 모든 것으로부터 우리 자신을 지켜낼 뜨거운 혈투. 그게 바로 20살 우리의 캐리, 우리의 버프. 우리 은행이 내일보다 더 빛날 20살 우리의 오늘을 응원합니다.
This is for those who dare to stand up, for those who dare to make a difference. Get ready for battle and join the Republic of Gamers.
이 혹독한 훈련에서 살아남은 의자만이 CDG의 의자가 되니까. 때론 지나친 고집이 정말 좋은 것을 만드니까 의자가 인생을 바꾼다.
CDG
There we go. I can hear myself. There it is. Oh, okay. We're back on screen. Griffin up against DWG 1-0. And, of course, Chovy did pick up another MVP 6-0-2 on his Akali. Makes him 68 KDA. So close, but so far away. We'll see how much more KDA he can build up before he dies again.
And you too can follow at home with the Chovy KDA game. If he doesn't die, just add 1 for every assist and kill he picks up. You're dividing by 1, so very easy math to be done there, even if math is the bane of your existence. Well, Griffin have been the bane of DAMWON's existence. 8-0 is Griffin in any best of 1 against this team, and we open up now with Griffin on the blue side, and DAMWON's best hope, at least based on what we've seen this season, is getting Noguri one of those big counter picks. He had Jason to Victor, a priority matchup, but no ability to hit the team fight, kind of hurt them in the late game. This is the time when the Vladimir on red side was the most likely. This is the time where the Vladimir hits the ban for Griffin on both blue and red side.
It's a lot of respect to ban it this early and just to say, no, we will not let you have Vladimir at any point in any of our games. And to be honest, after watching their games, I agree. I'm like, yeah, you cannot give this guy Vlad. Feels very flexible, and once you hit the late game, if he gets any kills or any farm going, gets pretty insane. Now, this is interesting. GP going to be banned out here by Griffin.
And you know why there's a first round GP? It's because they don't care about anyone other than Noguri's 5th pick on the red side.
Yeah.
That is the most likely way they lose to DWG Gaming in game number 2. So they're starting the bans now. And you best believe 2 more counter-pick top laners that Noguri plays are going to hit the ban list in the second round. So a lot of respect being shown. Who else is going to draw a first-round Gangplank ban in 2019? So much left open because they're banning Vlad Gangplank in the first round. Means that Lucian will be preferred. Notice, what other team can you say would prefer Lucian to Urgot, Galio, all of the flex laners left open? DWG Gaming going to gleefully accept that Urgot and actually pair it with an Ezreal in the first round.
Really quick response. They're not going with the Victor into Lucian or anything weird like that. They want that Ezreal. They felt good about Viper's play, their damage. They want to bring it onto their side this time around.
Sion and Irelia could be the first round here. Not been the MO so much from Griffin to take their soul lane so early. But I would love to see Chovy on the Irelia. Don't know how much Irelia we'll see when patch 9.2 hits live. But they're not going to be going for Irelia now, and probably going to be banned by either blue or red team in the second round. Chovy hovering over Tarzan's jungle pick. Maybe more redemption Olaf in game number 2.
Yeah, I mean, if you build it in game 1 and you have, that extra gold from the first blood, if you can pull off something similar, why not do it in game 2? Although this time they're going up against a Nocturne, so might be a little bit harder to see things if he is in position. But either way, we'll have to wait and see. Now, what are the extra bans going to be out of Griffin? You were expecting more towards the top lane. I suppose Noguri could play the Urgot, but
you're fine with that. I think you're fine with that because that means that the top laner is much less likely to be any sort of damage threat in the late game. It's largely been Showmaker on Urgot Lissandra Galio duty, kind of making his champion pool smaller. If Showmaker had been popping off on the other carry picks, and there'll be more impetus to predict that. We'll see what Griffin's read is. Again, they have the best read on DAMWON of any team we've seen so far, given their 8-0 history against them. And for now, at least, they see Nocturne. They don't want the combo to be as clean in terms of chess pieces around the Nocturne. They will actually throw out a Galio ban to the side of DAMWON game.
And how about a Fiddlesticks ban when you're playing up against Lehens and you don't want to deal with another annoying support? Take away that and the Braum. It's not very common we see Fiddlesticks here.
Would this be an Ornn support game for Griffin? Because Olaf always loved being comboed with Ornn top, just so that he had the Ornn Horn to mask his engage with his ultimate. Rise ban, another one of Noguri's favorite top laners. Gragas going to be locked in here. That's a bit of a flex on the side of DWG Gaming. Could be support, could be jungle. Actually, it won't be jungle. They already have a Nocturne, so we'll throw that one out the window.
Nocturne mid lane.
So it's a blind Gragas support in this particular case. That's interesting. What does that mean for Griffin? Because it's a bit more of a risky duo lane now, the Ezreal Gragas. A lot of options available here. We could see a crazy Ornn, but we're not going to. It's going to be Tom Kench, safety first, coming through from Griffin.
Now the final pick for them could be into this top lane if Chovy hops onto the Scion. What is Sword thinking? Or maybe what is Chovy thinking as a blind pick into what could be the Urgot?
Oh, if he does this, we could see a Kali last pick from DWG Gaming. He likes it into Zoe. Okay, so I mean Katarina actually as a last pick into Zoe. This would be a time for Showmaker to bring out that Predator Katarina. The Echo is a matchup we've seen win, Lava and BDD. BDD showing how good this matchup can be because you can just W onto where the ultimate is used by Zoe. Instead, they go for something a bit more linear. It's actually going to be the Syndra. So no sign of the Katarina. That was the one I was hoping for, but maybe Showmaker not feeling it, and it's going to end up Syndra as the final pick to potentially try to shut down Chovy.
Showmaker strikes me as a Syndra player as well. Not 100% sure. I haven't checked his solo queue in a bit, but definitely something we don't see very often. So I'm excited to see if he can make this work. Zoe can be predictable in terms of her portal jump, so you can make that stun into combo work if you are playing the Syndra. And just a good pick in general against pretty much anything is the Syndra. So I like the pickup there for Showmaker. We'll see if he can pilot that to a victory this time around. DWG looking for it in their 9th best of 1 up against Griffin. They've lost 8 in a row. Maybe 9th time is the charm.
Or by the pick power, if the stun hits while the paranoia is in the air, or even just the combo of ults. The unleashed power and also the Urgot ultimate, the Fear Beyond Death, much more likely to arm with so much single target burst coming through from the Syndra. But my worry, Valdez, is that Olaf can just run at Syndra for a lot of the game, and especially if the Olaf is ahead, then the Syndra's positioning is going to be oh so tricky. Scion rolls in as well, and that means that Syndra might only have tanks as potential ult targets, and that's not what you're looking for with the last pick Syndra. Return to the Olaf, chance of the Black Cleaver, chance of the redemption. Will it be old? Will it be new? DWG Gaming are hoping for the new because the old against Griffin is a loss.
Will we see that redemption here in Game 2? Let's find out now. Here we go. Griffin this time on the blue side. Chovy picking up another one of his big picks. We saw this in the summer season a lot. 2018, the Zoe coming out here. Used to be even stronger. Went through a whole ringer of multiple different nerfs. Still strong enough. As Chovy will bring it here into the mid lane.
I have a shift back of his champion pool because was a bit of a role player, it felt. A slave to the Zoe Gallios in 2018, but talked about in the offseason wanting to bring more pressure onto himself, more solo carry potential on champions like Aurelia. And Casper Cup showed us the Aurelia was in order. His Akali has been so scary. Banned in this game by DWG Gaming.
Ooh, nice. Takes out the ward.
Attack speed, feels pretty good for the Olaf at level 1.
They place another ward, but first ward victory goes to Tarzan. Not the only victory he's had so far. Picked up another one in the hearts of many after building redemption onto Olaf. And now he's soloing down the blue.
Viper and Lehens haven't expended any mana or health, so it should be pretty clear to DWG that it's a topside Olaf start. Him clearing the ward was a good sign that was happening. Level 1, I guess a couple of Qs and a Comet proc have put Chovy already into his first chug of the Corrupting Potion.
Press the attack up against that Gragas, who was essentially blind picked into the support role. They banned out Braum and Fiddle and then picked Gragas 4th. So they had a couple of supports they were scared about. And then pick up that Gragas support, which you really do not see too often.
Definitely not with any sort of priority, I agree, Valdez. So not really sure why that is. I guess they wanted more engaged to combo with the Nocturne. But peculiar. We'll see what value it gets in this game. Hoyt's a player we don't talk about a lot, but a player who was top 5 for the last 3 months in solo queue, so mechanics certainly on point. Is Alistair very impressive in the past?
That's something I always love to do in solo queue. If you have this really hard pushing bot lane, you just roam to the second scuttle. You know that your jungle went to the top side. You could pressure the enemy jungle if he happens to be there. Nocturne generally not going to get in there too hard onto the scuttles, but this time around they just pick up some extra CS and gold to their AD carry and Viper, so not a bad pick. They deny it away from Canyon as well.
The way I look at these drafts is a battle of front lines. Not often the case in the current meta, as tanks can be in and out, but to me it's a lot about Sion and Olaf diving in and trying to zone or threaten Syndra and Ezreal, and pretty much the reverse story with large, I guess, Gragas Nocturne, but the Urgot if he can get there as well. If Chovy and Viper can hit the same target, a lot of kill pressure there. Syndra and Ezreal can hit the same target, a lot of kill pressure there. But I would wager that Showmaker and Nuclear will find it harder to push damage onto the backline outside of that Ezreal ultimate. I feel it means to me the reliability might be there more for Griffin. Also with the fact that their front line, Olaf and Sion, very difficult to stop between the unstoppable Onslaught and the relentless, and the Ragnarok as well. Relentless Pursue and Ragnarok on the same team.
Yeah. So on the bottom side, why the Lucian gets banned out a lot in solo queue and occasionally here in professional play can be so annoying to deal with, especially for melee jungle. Showmaker here has the Predator Olaf. They're going to force that flash. Is pushed away, but the flash on in into Ignite, and it looks like Showmaker is going to go down to the Zoe first blood. Canyon, though, trying to fight back here. Toby picks up the second flash and flashes back in for the double kill. The outplay gets him too as Toby shows up big time.
Perfect timing for Tarzan to come in with Predator. Syndra too far down the lane. Flashing into Tarzan's not going to be enough against Ignite onto the Zoe. The second kill was a toss-up, though. It could have gone either way. But flashing away defensively and, like you say, re-engaging at the end does it for Chovy. This is what happens early. No ultimate on the side of Showmaker to just ult the Olaf and stop his onslaught. Get the first kill, and Canyon does some great brawling at the end. Takes down Tarzan. But one flash defensively, the second one offensively. The more sparkles enough to take down the Nocturne.
Gotta love that. And also, 2 Dark Seals picked up here for Zoe, as he's not fooling around this time. Carried game number 1, got super fed on his Akali. Looking to do the same this time on the Zoe. Syndra counter pick into it, not gonna work out this time up against that Olaf Predator gank that he had so much trouble against. Really nice timing there too. It was right before Showmaker wanted to back, and he was low on health and mana, had used all of his potions, all that kind of thing. It was just the perfect gank, the perfect storm to get Chovy ahead.
Definitely the time in the laning phase, the first 5 minutes of the game, where there was kill pressure, because for a lot of the rest of the game, there was not, especially with no Predator available. Onto Tarzan previously. Double Dark Seal is just the most combat power you can get for 700 gold, so I'm sure it's a gold timing thing here. Otherwise, one of those Dark Seals would likely be a Doran's Ring. Seeing Chovy walk up. He's got double buffs and an item lead, so he's feeling pretty spry in the mid lane.
You can see how the Syndra can kind of predict where the Zoe's going to hop forward, so you can get some free damage as long as you're not getting hit by paddle stars, in which case, absolutely not free.
You know what's a bit free, though? Is to talk about the fact that Chovy didn't go Cleanse or Barrier, and with no Summoner and the Nocturne Paranoia up, pretty hard to outplay a Nocturne dive and any Syndra damage topside.
Blocks that ultimate sword, getting ignited down. Looks like the ultimate of Nuguri, though, is going to time out. Maybe used it a little bit early there. Wanted to secure the kill, but didn't have enough follow-up damage. We didn't mention it, but right after the double kill in the mid lane, sword just barely got away from the kill from Nuguri. Nuguri went back home and picked up a Ko, just to say, I wish I was playing something more aggressive, but I'm still going to dominate lane on an Urgot.
We're seeing it quite a lot this second by Cull coming in just to, like you say, dominate the mid-game gold lead a bit harder. First item rush onto the Urgot. Not as important, you'd love a Black Cleaver, but not in as much of a rush these days to finish that item. So good call out there on that one. Still Have to be a bit wary if you're Chovy, like we mentioned, though, as Nocturne's Paranoia is for sure available.
And he is nearby, looking for that. Oh, he hits it, and now with no cleanse, no flash, here we go. Canyon trying to get on in, but he's being bursted down. The fear goes through, but Canyon, unfortunately, is just going to be picked away. Tarzan healed to safety as another kill goes the way of Griffin.
And I think that Canyon, once again, in a bit of a funk against Tarzan. I understand popping the ult defensively, but he actually committed to it, and Showmaker seemed surprised. He did not seem like he was ready to push any damage on either member of Griffin. That means the Nocturne's first ult is basically offered in tribute to the side of Griffin, and Chovy gets to continue on his merry ways. Watch the replay of this play. Again, popping Paranoia here is fine, but he dives in, and Showmaker can only scatter the weak and auto attack. He offers nothing else in the skirmish. The rich get richer when it comes to the mid-jungle duo of Griffin.
It's definitely a fantastic, feels-good moment, and I think the, it's kind of interesting. I think our, on the bottom side here, our thing is bugged. Chovy got an assist, and then he's showing no stacks on his Dark Seal, so.
I mean, it's listing as no assist, so not sure about that particular one.
Maybe he didn't attack the Nocturne. That seems kind of impossible.
I guess it's possible.
Maybe he was just feared and was running away. Wouldn't the more sparkles be doing damage? I don't know. Maybe it's not bug. We'll give it the benefit of the doubt for now and update you guys in a bit.
Viper just hard pushing in the bot lane. We saw Canyon around, but it must have been for a counter gank with no ultimate available. Sion hoping that he can get enough items, stop being a threat of a solo kill to Nogari. And look, it's redemption.
It's back.
And you know what? It's being built by Olaf as well.
Because why not? Of course, that's what you do on Olaf.
Guys are joining us late, hearing about the Olaf with redemption being the thing. A couple of reasons that might give us an inkling to it. Genius Hunter means that cooldown reduction was in full display. Basically every skirmish, the redemption was going off from the Olaf. It's also that Olaf, of all junglers, has the least impetus to finish his Cinderhulk. Tank junglers who want a bit of extra clearing speed want to finish the Cinderhulk, and then obviously later in the game, the percentage buff on the health feels good. But a scaling jungle item with a champion that already has super fast clear, not so important. So decides against Black Cleaver, goes redemption for a bit more teamfight utility. Speaking of fights,
he has his flash, but he has that ultimate blocked. Still has a stopwatch, though. They're going to come in and try to kill him. There it goes. Nogari able to pick it up, and here comes Tarzan. And Zombie Sion looking for some kills.
For more.
Sword going to get one. Here's Showmaker to make his way up first. But a nice one-for-one trade as Tarzan is able to respond.
Not sure why Gragas on the back time. They're losing a lot of health on this bot lane turret at the same time. One of the few times where Zombie Sion's actually a pretty formidable foe. When the Olaf is there perma-slowing next to him. They get another summoner out of it. Still ahead in kills, and the gold lead is bigger than it ever was in game number 1. 2,700 gold. Gonna watch the replay here. It's just as the ult comes up. Redemption not actually going to get a heal in here. Could have actually stasis and then probably got the redemption heal after the stasis, but at the end of it, Sword, his death not in vain, able to chase in and get the answering kill on Nogger.
Follow up here as Tarzan has seemingly started the Rift Herald and doesn't seem scared. Has to use his own stopwatch, but they got to be careful. Big knockup, though, onto the Nocturne, and they're just going to take him out. As Chovy does get the big pick there. Nicely done by Sword to help him. He's just going to flash the wall as now Hoyt has made his way in here first. Will they continue up? There's the flash on in. No cask available. Just going to hit the Tom Kent away, but Chovy somehow picks up another kill, and the head flashes for the Devour and saves the Sion. It's an absolute rout over here at the Rift Herald as Sword survives, everyone survives, and Griffin pick up 3 kills.
Forgive the pun, but there seems to be no redemption for DWG Gaming against Griffin. All they want is that single win, Valdez. They don't want there to be a perfect season for Griffin, and they want to take them down at any point. But the skirmish healing and damage the redemption provides actually is really big in that skirmish again. It's almost off cooldown. Just look at it. He's got so many assists that Ingenious Hunter is way up there in terms of stacks. We watched the replay. It begins with Tarzan being out of the fight. Chovy has to flash defensively because Grog is the first one there. In every way, DWG should have this team fight. They get all their members impacting it so early, and yet, from the redemption onwards, Griffin take them down.
Trying desperately to kill Sword, but they can't. Sword not quite able to hit that, but the redemption you were talking about heals all three of them, keeps Sword alive, and Lahens gets there.
Just think about the redemption here. It's what, maybe an 800 health swing? 300-400 damage onto the enemy, similar amount of healing to the side of Griffin. That's all you need to have a perfect team fight and for no one to go down. It really was a really big reason they win that particular skirmish. And it's back up as Sion is getting camped by now Hoyt and Nuggery.
And Canyon and Nuclear. No, they're just, you know, swapping here, but not having fun in the bottom lane, it seems, as Viper on Lucian is up 40 CS. Just Viper things. Tarzan taking a Cloud Drake will make them all faster. And it wasn't a bug. The Zoe actually did not get any assist on the Nocturne kill, so now has 7 stacks on both Dank Seals, as he has picked up 5-0 and 1, means that Chovy is now at 73 KDA currently.
I don't think the redemption jungle meta will
74,
come in
74.
as a more kind of thought-provoking point. Not many champions delete jungle camps and also don't need any of the Cinderhawk stats in the early game like Olaf. Again, he was the one jungle going just straight into Black Cleaver. I guess the only other example is a Shaco going into damage items instead of finishing the jungle, and Chan is Griffin up top.
He hits it too. You are so dead as there it goes. 6th kill goes over to Chovy, picks up another one, and that, guys, might be the double nail in the coffin as Chovy says, hey guys, you banned my Akali. Do you remember Zoe? She's back.
Chovy brings back an oldie, and we were only just getting to the point where you can start banning his new champions. Shame that he plays his old champions just as well. 10 stacks on the Dark Seal meant that he already could delete the Ezreal, and, you know, probably going to come back with a bit more damage in the item build to ensure that stays this way the entire game.
7-0-1. Having a ball right now as there are just games where players on Griffin just look like they're smurfing. I mean, you see the Fiddle, you see the Evelyn on Tarzan. That was the big one for me. It's like, yeah, just another solo queue game. No, this is DWG Gaming. They were undefeated before today.
Just ahead of the play, Valdez. The trouble bubble hits, and then he's dead. Did the Q even register? Did Tom Kent even get an assist? I don't know. It sounded like it did, but I'm not sure. Cleaning up the second one, and just, especially when it comes to KDA, the rich get richer. I'm looking forward to the featured matchup in the SKT series because it's looking like we might have an 80 KDA coming through from Chovy.
I mean, the dream is 100, right? You want to be over 100, and then you can say you're kind of a baller. I'd say he's already kind of a baller here at nearly 80.
I would wager no professional player has ever had a KDA of 100 because that's a lot of time to get that many kills and assists.
Yep.
That's going to take 7-8 games minimum, right? If you're popping off every game and crushing falls, it seems very unlikely to go that long with that much of a KDA, but add 8 to the number. Like you say,
76.
He's getting close.
No Magi's, I'm kind of disappointed. Sold one of his Dank Seals, now it's just a Dark Seal.
I guess he went Oblivion Orb and Merc Tread, so doesn't have double Magic Pen to go for the Magi's as early.
Yeah.
A bit of restraint being shown, rare thing from Chovy. We zoom out. Sword, for all his struggles in lane, can still run at the enemy and dive into the Syndra, who, you know, probably isn't killing anyone this game. She's only going to get to press her buttons onto Sion. Pushing through mid lane, and Viper's turret diving, because why not?
Yeah, you know, doesn't look like DWG have any legs to stand on here.
They just don't have any gold, Valdez. Unlike game number 1, we're close to 10,000, and it's 17 minutes into the game.
It's Sword. He's like, guys, let's go for the dive. I got this. Backs away, but probably could have gone for it. Same build here from Tarzan again, Hex Drinker as well. Still dealing with the Syndra frontline ultimate to his face, so he wants to make sure he can survive that. The Redemption stands strong. Will pick up 2 victories in a row here in the LCK.
And ever since Casper Cup, in all their best of 3s and best of 5s, there's been at least one game in every series where Griffin have looked as a team like they're smurfing. There's been individual games where they struggled. First game against a FLICKR, miraculous team fight to get behind their re-debut after the long break around Worlds. First game against Hanwha Life. Should have been a Hanwha Life victory, but weren't able to pick it up. But there's always the game twos where they back it up and have games like this.
Canyon is not in range. Will he even go for it? No. It looks like just another dead member of DAMWON. As Nuguri is so sad, man. There have been so many skirmishes against Sword where he's in the lead, he's about to kill him, and then someone on Griffin comes and saves his life to make it at least a 1-for-1. Jovi's just a sniper, so it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone. He was looking for the kill there too. Might as well.
And I'm going to be bold and say I think Nuguri's sadness started a bit earlier than level 1, because even in pick and ban, last time DAMWON played Griffin, third game of the Kesper Cup semifinal, Nuguri died 10 times on Urgot in 30 minutes. He was basically chain feeding, not from mistakes, but from in lane getting answered. Then he tried to come and help his mid lane, got killed. He was dying every half second. And speaking of deaths,
well, out of range, as Jovi is not going to go for it this time around. Had his flash, so surprised he didn't go for the kill. But, yeah, he's just showing off his stuff, you know?
I think it's turned into a bit of a exhibition match for Griffin to show off their stuff. Item leads in every role. Sword seems to be the only person who's always suffering when we change over to his lane. But he's building for team. He wants a Warmogs and the ability to engage, and he will have that very soon. Mountain Drake goes the way of Griffin to give them a bit more Baron threat. It's a visual bug. We're used to it now, Valdez.
We're just having a bit of fun here in game 2.
I guess Chovy wanted to check the brush there. Curious. They're very worried.
Yeah.
I wonder who would be there. Who would it be? It wouldn't be Nocturne. Strange, but safety first. Probably good mechanics to have. The thing we'll say about that,
He's practicing, you know.
But let's talk about that play. In a different game, maybe you actually stuff a turret dive onto Zoe. Now, this game, where you're a million gold ahead, it doesn't matter. But if you develop bad habits in games where you're winning by a lot, you might actually play like that in games where you're losing. So it's a lot of thought into what could just be a pretty inconspicuous thing. But I don't mind players always playing like the game is on the line.
Yeah, I can definitely imagine VOD reviews where Griffin stomp a team 2-0 and CV Max is like, you didn't check the bush? Are you serious? You
especially
died?
Especially CV Max, the guy that said that his players are gladiators in the Coliseum, and you know, he's always very severe with his analogies. And what did he talk about, holding a bomb and stuff like that? We're not actually making things up. There's an Invent Global
He's
interview.
an intense guy, you know?
He is, and so maybe Chovy just doesn't want to get any sort of you know, any sort of negative feedback, whether it's of the physical or verbal variety.
Exactly.
After the game.
Playing it safe in more than one way, in the game and out of the game. Because he probably knows he'd be criticized for something, even when he goes 7-0-2 Zoe.
No coach other than Koma kind of had that air about him, the air of, I don't care what your scoreline was, don't make this mistake.
You know, honestly, well, that's Zoe right now. I think it's a good kind of personality trait for a coach to have. Seems kind of harsh, but especially in traditional sports, you see that a lot. Experienced it a lot, and definitely seems effective in one way.
They're able to chase DAMWON out of their own jungle. How many jungle camps would you say are DAMWON's this game? Maybe Wolves is the only one we could suggest. Every other one seems to be a Griffin camp.
They have their little corner over there with 2 wards, and that's it. No other wards on the map currently.
Griffin don't want to make a Baron start. Probably the only way the game can change is a Paranoia. And remember that you can just go for a scrying, a blue trinket, and then ult in. And speaking of the Paranoia,
sad Scion bowling tonight. Can he get out of this one as Redemption and Tom Kent and the double knock-up stun come in? Sword is sad, but he has very friendly teammates that make him not sad anymore and save him.
Olaf getting assists across the map with his orbital Nuka Redemption. Who needs to play jungle Karthus? Get on this level, Spirit. Tarzan says in this game, inhibitor line finally going to be broken, and Viper can't even be bothered being there.
Jovi's goal, he just wants to break 80 KDA today. That's the goal for tonight for Zoe. I believe he should be at around 78, is my guess. Maybe 79 at this point. Yes, 79. So we're 1 kill or assist away here for Jovi to break 80 KDA after this series.
Wonder if we can have a total of the sum of the bounties that people have had over the course of the season. I feel like the richest man in the league. It's likely to be someone like Tarzan or Chovy. Watching the replay here, redemption means that Sword is not going to die. And you know what? Zoe does the rest.
Is Redemption OP?
Redemption Olaf, new OP.
Questions to be answered. Will Viper die? Another one here. He's trying to get away. Hoyt doesn't want to make that a reality as he, well, misses his body slam.
How does no one die, ever?
Sword on the Scion is just too fancy with his feet. Makes it away.
Great, backing up there. Scion strong enough to first build space, then speed way away. Already I'm seeing the YouTube clickbait videos of, you won't believe what this Olaf build can do.
Yeah.
It's redemption, and it's a lot of healing.
Do you feel like it's a win more from ahead kind of item?
No, because it's so cheap that you get it so early that as long as you're getting Ingenious Hunter, you got it up so often that I actually, again, good reasons for it. You have it much quicker. It's a really weird equation, though, because Kindle Gem is great for Olaf, and Phage is great for Olaf. And yes, that's all you have for the same amount of gold as Redemption. But Redemption does a lot in skirmishes, so if it's 2v2s and 3v3s, the health swing that it provides can be so big. It's kind of like a mini Karthus ult, mini Soraka ult at one. So hard to gauge. I think in solo queue, stick with the Black Cleaver if you are playing Olaf at home, as Griffin would like a Baron buff and to go home as soon as possible.
Definitely don't try this at home unless you're 5-man flex queuing or something like that. As Baron looks very tasty for Griffin. They want a little bit more. They want to end this game.
Paranoia.
Looking to get some vision to start as Sword just is going to delete Hoyt with the help of Chovy here. And now it's Nuggery's turn as he goes legendary once again. Chovy just picking up all the kills, making another one onto the Syndra. As everybody's dying in the jungle, they dared to step foot in Griffin's jungle, and they paid the price.
And that's going to be the Abyssal Voyage bot lane. Instead of a Baron start, maybe they want some Nexus turrets here to Viper and Lahens.
At this point, feels like anything is possible as Griffin want to come in here and bite off that Nexus turret and rotate into the mid lane. But Tarzan, meanwhile, just doing his own thing. He can always redemption from downtown. Doesn't seem to mind it. As down will go the inhibitor turret, make that a second one up on the top side. Griffin don't seem to need the Baron. They're just way too far ahead, guys. As Chovy now 14 kills and assists in total in this game.
Kind of the weird thing, and the position I'm at, I want to talk about Valdez, is the last time we had a moment like this, we had it to some degree in 2018 Sprig, but the last time it really felt like this was 2015 summer. Again, that was when SK Telecom T1 with Marin in the top lane. Bless his heart, did retire, shout out to Marin. Went 17-1. And as a caster, that was my first LCK split, so I had to contend with everyone hating me for not being Monty, but it was, it was a tough time.
Dark times. As same can be said here.
He's dead.
For,
it doesn't matter.
Him.
My story's more interesting. Is the job I had then, when every time SKT played, because everyone wants to watch SKT, they're the team that's dominating, it was trying to actually give them a foil. Because when you're beating everyone, it's very hard to be like, watch this match, it's going to be awesome. It's like, well, watch this match, they're going to win 2-0. It feels like Griffin might be the first team since then, 4 years later, where every time we talk about other teams, things like this happen.
You see that Viper just flashes to safety and is now being body blocked by the Tomcats. He's still alive.
Yep.
What the hell is going on? Finally, he goes down. Lahens not able to devour a second time on this patch.
Chovy's here.
Everybody's going to die. As, yep, that's all I got. Double kill here for Olaf. And they're going for the victory. Griffin, not very surprisingly, take out another opposing team 2-0.
Every good hero needs a villain. Superman got way more exciting when Kryptonite came in. What is Griffin's Kryptonite? Because we've confirmed it's not DWG Gaming.
It's not going to be DAMWON. The question is, will it be SKT? One of the big matchups we will have coming next week. Make sure you guys are tuning in for that one, as this one, I expected it to be a little bit closer. I expected Nogari to slip into Vladimir or get a big carry game, but once again, Griffin proved they are immune to anything and everything DAMWON Gaming tonight as they move to 9 best-of-3s, 1 in a row against DAMWON. DAMWON have not won a single time.
Just a decimation by Griffin in game number 2, especially. Like we said, exhibition match, talking about Superman. You had to try to find things to talk about because on screen, it didn't need too much more explanation. Just dominating them with Chovy hilariously ahead very early in the game. You can see why so many teams, they always hold their breath. They always change their mind when they're speaking about Griffin in an interview. Can we win a single game? Please, I'd love to win a single game. Seems like most teams would love to do that. DWG Gaming joins the list of teams that have been unable to do so. That means that Griffin now rise to 16-0 since the start of the Casper Cup.
As long as they don't pull a 2018, we're going to go Funnolution. When it's not really working, I feel like these guys are definitely on pace for, 15, 16 wins. Will they get the magical run? Question still remains to be answered. Kind of a funny moment. CV Max immediately goes to Sword and gives him a big hug, says, I know you suffered a little bit in that game, but it was all for the cause. And made some actually big plays happen with the help of Tom Kent towards the end when they were super far ahead. But either way, every man on Griffin's got a job. Sword's job is to be that solid man on the top side. This time it was just doing the best with what he was given, which was a lot of ganks. And still made it happen. Griffin pick up another win alongside many not surprising things that have happened today. Griffin, will they meet their maker? We'll have to wait and see.
Such an interesting story for Griffin. We talked a lot about their rise in summer. But let's talk about after summer. After the disappointment of losing to KT, they kept scrimming. They were scrimming teams in Worlds when they were not in Worlds. And that was not just at the end. People know about them beating IG and Fnatic in scrims. But I'm talking about right after LCK Summer. They took a very short break and went straight back into it and were scrimming against teams in the promotion tournament that are arriving for the boot camps. They were still playing. They were still playing. And people always say, what does off-season mean? But getting themselves into form then dominating the Casper Cup, what does that mean? Then we come into the LCK. It's a different level of Griffin than the team that took LCK Summer by storm. Because while in game 1, I'm like, okay, too much scaling. It's never Funnolution. It's never just comps where you're like, I don't know what you were thinking here. They had one of the worst drafts we've ever seen in summer season when they had a no damage comp that could do so little, had no threat onto an enemy Kog'Maw. And yet here, another solid draft, another easy victory. Griffin have continued to rise and put their hard work into momentum that is almost unanswerable. SK Telecom T1 have such a handful to deal with on Thursday, and if they don't get it done, then you start looking at the list and saying, maybe Sandbox is the best hope.
That's what I was going to mention. It doesn't feel like in my mind when I think about the matchup that SKT is going to take it. If I had to predict it, maybe just another 2-0, but maybe Sandbox are that magical team. Everybody was saying 9th place, 10th place, maybe 8th place at best. We'll have to see if maybe they're the kryptonite here for Griffin, as it doesn't seem like really anybody else is. But again, that matchup will come later. Double kill here for Chovy in the mid lane, got things started. Flashes back, flashes forward, says, I'm Zoe, la-di-da-di, picks up another kill, and has a lot of fun doing it.
Find it weird he knew the comms there, but that's pretty much exactly what happened.
Exactly what he said, actually.
And they rolled through, and from there, just straightforward stuff. The side of Griffin, had some nice moments, DWG trying to turn on to the Scion, but they just couldn't kill him enough times. That was their frustration. They just couldn't actually take him down. And Canyon, to me, once again, while it wasn't Tarzan reading him like a book, he had a lot of weird errors. His ult into the mid lane just compounded their problems around the Syndra and Nocturne, and then the paranoias didn't matter. The outnumberings happened, the redemptions came in, healing Olaf is the deadliest. Crazy stuff.
Oh boy. Of course, Zoe, Chovy hops in. He wants more kills and more assists. As you guys saw these highlights, it's Zoe that gets super far ahead, and it's Griffin, so no big surprise here. But We were talking about Griffin versus Sandbox. It's actually the Saturday on the same week as Griffin versus SKT. So that's 2 huge matches for Griffin in a row. They'll have to go up against SKT first on the Thursday and then Sandbox on the Saturday. So make sure you guys are tuning in for that week. It's going to be a hell of a lot of fun.
Maybe next week is the now or never week for Griffin because they beat Sandbox and SKT 2-0. I think 18-0 is almost locked in, barring a catastrophe in the draft. Griffin take it down, they bring back the Zoe, and well, that's going to lead to some nightmares for the members of DWG Gaming. Very, very, very one-sided. 3 kills, nothing else to the side of DWG Gaming.
There you have it, 21.1 thousand in about 25 minutes. So nearly 1,000 damage per minute. That's what happens when Zoe gets fed like that. And what else can we say? I mean, Griffin is pretty insane. And what do you think? Do you think anyone's going to be able to take them out? Do you think Sandbox have the magic touch? Is it going to be SKT?
No.
No? You don't think so?
No.
Nobody? I'm kind of on the same page here.
I don't think 36-0 will happen. I'm more confident in 18-0 every time I see them play. But in the first round, 18-0 is looking pretty ironclad. So when it comes to the first round, 9 best of 3s, 18-0, the speed run. The speed run for Griffin is pretty insane. I think we just have to crown the MVP and then have the MVP interview here to close out the show. Guys, tomorrow it will be LS's debut here, which is going to be a fun thing here. So good to have LS out here. Papa gets his weekend. Papa gets his birthday off.
I know, you get to have a birthday and actually celebrate it.
I'm feeling good about that.
It's different from last year.
Last year I had a Spo TV birthday with you.
Yes.
And the Twitch chat out there. Shout out to all you guys with your Fields birthday mans in the past. This year I'll accept them however what you want. But Chovy's going to accept the MVP in game number 2 of the series, 11-0-5. Let's do some quick maths here. I want to say
68 is 84.
84 KDA coming into the SKT series.
He's a little bit scary, and it's not like you can exactly ban out Akali, Zoe, and Galio every game. That's just not going to happen. There's 4 other members that will just destroy you, basically. I mean, they still have Tarzan, Viper, a Hansen Sword. We're going to have a lot of fun, so... Yep, this was the Chovy show. He had a lot of fun as well. We'll see if he can make 100 KDA. That's really the big marker, the big milestone that I assume has never been hit before.
If he hits 100 KDA against SKT, I think we got other bigger things to talk about as well, because that would require some pristine play in that series, and I think it's about time to start wrapping up that show. I want to hear from Chovy again. Not always a man of many words, but hopping and skipping his way to a unique record in the KDA books.
Can't wait to hear what he has to say. I'm sure it's going to be all about what he did in these games, but I'll hand it over to Ji-sun for the translation. Let's get into it.
Thank you very much, guys. This is Ji-sun with today's last interview translation, and we're going to be joined by another double MVP of today. It's Chovy from Griffin. Congratulations on the win. How do you feel?
제가 오늘 되게 잘한 것 같아서 되게 기분 좋네요.
I think I did pretty well. I'm really happy.
네, 담원과의 상대 전적이 현재 오늘
So your
경기까지
score against
합해서
DWG Gaming,
9게임
you
연승을
guys
하고
are
계십니다.
on 9 games winning streak.
위에 있었기 때문에 오늘 자신감이 있으셨을 것 같은데
And maybe
어떻게
that kind of
대비하셨나요?
added more confidence on you guys.
담원 상대로 9연승 하고 있는지는 의식을 안 해서 딱히
I wasn't really aware of the record.
해온대로
I just
계속
did as
잘하자라는
we did normally
생각으로
do.
경기에 임했습니다.
네, 그 마음이 통했던 것 같습니다. 자, 현재 본인의 KDA
So
오늘까지
KDA
해서 84.
has reached
달성을
84.
엄청난데요. 현재까지 유일하게 데스를 한 번만 기록을
And you're the only
했습니다.
player with
기록을
one
좀
death
의식하고
so
계세요?
far. Are you aware of that?
이쯤 되니까 기록을 의식하게 되네요.
Well, from now on,
주변에서
I'm a
좀
little
말을
bit
하니까
paying attention to
생각을
it.
하게 되는데, 앞으로도 조금 데스에 대해서
Are you
생각을 하고
trying?
지켜나갈
Are you
생각이
gonna try not to
있으신가요?
die as much as
제가
possible?
죽어야 하는 상황이 오면은 그땐
If there's a situation where I have to die, I will die for my teammates.
자, 본격적으로 경기 이야기를 해보겠습니다.
Then let's move on to
초비
games.
선수에게 아칼리를 주지 마라.
A lot of people say don't let you play Akali, but someone opened Akali on your side.
제가 아칼리 한 판들이 전부 초반에
Well, the game that I played Kali, actually, I wasn't really dominating in the early game. So that was the reason why I think DWG let me play it. But game 2, they banned it out. I guess your Kali was quite scary for them. Yeah, I think so. After seeing me performing a Kali, I think they found out that they cannot stop me on the Kali. And there was this team fight where Tarzan used his redemption and you guys were able to take down a lot of the players. This is the highlights. What kind of shot call went back and forth? Were you just trying to bait play it over there? Well, I knew that I was able to pull that up, so there were no specific calls, but I knew the best route to catch all the players. And we were really curious about the redemption build. Was it all planned? Yes, during the scrims we were using redemption a lot, and I think it's pretty good, so that's why we also went with redemption build on competitive games. Tarzan, he told me that he saw some other user going redemption build on solo queue and he thought it was really good. I think we better find out who is the one that started that amazing build. So game 1 was a little bit close, but game 2 was quite dominant. Were you guys trying to play more aggressively? It's not about actually playing aggressively. Well, I had a lot of hard times during the laning phase because I was hit by too many skill shots, but Tarzan was playing so well in game 2. But your Zoe was so impressive because you were landing all your Sleepy Trouble bubble. Is there any tips? It's actually a mental game, but also you have to be lucky. Were you lucky today? I was lucky today. That's why my skill shots were landing so well. And your most picked champion is Zoe. Is that your favorite champion? Does it connect well with you? I don't really feel like me and Zoe has really good connection. I just have nothing to play but Zoe, and that's why I always lock in Zoe. Then let's check out these highlights. So, Sword was actually in the trouble, but you guys were coming for a backup with Tamkench ult. Well, Sword told us that Nocturne is using his paranoia on bot lane, so asking for a backup. I don't really remember exactly. So Lee Hans told me to get into my belly, and I was lucky to pick up the kill. So you just listened to what Lee Hans said, and you got the kill, right? It's always entertaining to have an interview with you, Chovy. And your next opponent is SK Telecom. There are a lot of hypes around it. How are you preparing for it? Nothing really special. We're just gonna keep this hard work going. And we're just trying hard to always play consistently. Are you confident enough? I'm always confident to win. So thank you very much for this interview, Chovy, and congratulations on your 4 games winning streak. So this will wrap up today's series, and it was a bit of a short day compared to yesterday. And I'm gonna pass it back to our casters. Thank you.
Thank you, Ji-sun, for the translation, as always. And yes, it feels like whenever I come here, it's 2-0-2-0 real quick. Wrap it up. Lots of Griffin as well, so that does factor into that one. But I love how Chovy is just literally trolling in the interview, saying, yeah, I just got lucky and like this kind of thing. Not actually trolling. In Korean culture, they like to be very modest and just say, it just kind of worked out, and that's why it worked well today. But literally, that man is a monster on the Zoe, and it's hard to not give it to him because then you'd have to ban Zoe. It's just It's a multitude of problems whenever you're facing Griffin, Papa.
You only get 3 bans in the first round and 2 in the second round, and too many problems being offered by Griffin at the moment. A lot of people in the crowd here, of course, when we had our interviews after Game 6 yesterday, not many people sticking around, very close to the trains and all public transit shutting down. But just before 10 p.m. on a Friday, a lot of Griffin faithful want to listen to Chovy. They know there'll be plenty more MVPs. Interviews with this person. Really nicely done, the 84 KDA, such an insane stat. Griffin continue a perfect season so far when it comes to the scoreboards. Some blemishes, if I could have an asterisk, it would say asterisk HLE G1, by the way. But we don't have asterisk, we only have scorelines, and the scoreline right now is that Griffin are a level above everyone else. They're the only team not to drop a single game. Matches back tomorrow, that will be you and LS for Kingzone versus FLICKR. Suddenly very interesting, with both teams coming off a victory. And then Sandbox versus Hanwha Live, actually a top-of-the-table clash.
Both of those matches are going to have tons to talk about. Kingzone and FLICKR looking for their second win here in Sandbox. Another one of these teams that everybody's asking, are they just another one of these super strong, new, young challenger teams that are going to wreck the LCK? And Hanwha Life on the same kind of page where everybody saw them in the Kespa Cup and they were like, oh, who is this team? You know, what's going on? And then all of a sudden they come into LCK and they start clapping some folks. So really excited for tomorrow. Should be fun.
It's going to be a great time, and I look forward to watching it at home.
Yeah, happy birthday to Papa for tomorrow. Make sure you guys send him all the nice messages you can. We're going to be having a fun time here casting tomorrow, me and LS, so make sure to tune in for that as well. But for tonight, thank you for watching. As always, we love you. Good night.
You take me higher when I feel low. Make my world brighter when I'm alone. I keep on rolling, oh, with your fuel. You're like my gasoline that makes my dream come